we bout that, and we represent UK worldwide, got the drill set.
This clip is brought to you by Bout.online.com. Peace fam, so we got another one to check out and give a little bit of reaction. Once again, gonna tap in with Short Circuit, also known as Freedom, formerly of No Limit Records. So this clip is Terrance Gangsta Williams, and this is taken from an interview that he did with A Humble Soul. So you can go out to YouTube and check out the full interview at A Humble Soul, where you can see their channel. And it says, C Murder wasn't a real street dude, he went backwards. And Terrance Gangsta Williams speaks on C Murder and Mr. Marcelo, I believe, a bit Master P on this interview also. So yeah, you can check out the full interview, but we're going to home in to a clip where he's asked a question about C Murder and gives his response, and then we're going to tap in with Short Circuit and see what he has to say due to his experience.
But listen, P did an interview with Fred Magazine. He said me and Gangsta met up at a park. I didn't know him, he didn't know me, but they were pointing fingers saying I did something to his family, right? All that P cap.
That's not true.
No. P got a cousin on my project named Rashid. Shout out to Rashid. Rashid's a couple of help. I said, man, tell your cousin, man, I'm trying to see him. When I see him, I'm going to hold court. So I never, ever came in contact with him.
Yeah, so we're here on that first part. Gangsta says he never came into contact with P or saw P, and that P was capping on him in the Feds magazine where he said that he had that meeting with him. So I don't know, this has been discussed before. You know, you guys can leave thoughts in the comments about it. We can pick it up there. We're going to get back into some of the interview where he switches directions and speaks on his experience and thoughts of C Murder.
A lot of people now get a little upset when I say this because they got a lot of C Murder fans. But when we were beefing, when the Magnum, not the Magnum, when me and my two co-defendants was beefing with the Calio Project, C Murder wasn't there. C Murder was, I don't know if it was home or in California somewhere. He wasn't, he was in school, he was doing something, but he wasn't in the streets. See, from the Calio Project, he come up with all these killers and all that. C was doing something positive. And then once he made it, so remember they come back backwards. That's what yeah, no. So some people be like, oh, you trying to say C went on real street? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But he was in the street, but he wasn't stepping, we was stepping.
Yeah, guys, so we're going to check out a bit more of this interview, then we're going to get to it with Short Circuit. You can check out the full interview on A Humble Soul, so check out their YouTube channel and get the full interview. So you hear Gangsta say there how he feels C isn't a real street dude, but you can tell he's framing it from his experience, I guess, from his time, which was being out there with his Hot Boys clip and stuff, and you know, a lot of that's been well documented. So I guess he's framing it from his time and perspective, but it's an interesting notion what he's suggesting. What do you guys think? Do let me know thoughts in the comments. We're gonna get Short Circuit on shortly, so let's check out last bit of this clip.
He's older than I am.
He's older than you?
Yes.
I don't know. I thought you was about to say he was younger than you. That's why you ain't really hear his name, Rick.
Bro, no.
And you know what? Out of the three brothers, C Murder is the one who come across like you the real
shit. Right, because he cool with all the killers, ran with the killers. He had a project. He come back, and got him in a project and hanging out, going to the club.
Soldier Slim and all
that.
So
he running with him. Yeah. But I'm talking about when we was in the thick of thing.
What you think about the story? So you saying he wasn't the real deal? He wasn't he was out there.
I'm not saying he was the real deal. I'm saying he wasn't stepping with us.
What you saying?
He trying to throw me in the credit. Trying to see fan man.
No, I'm really that was actually I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to when I asked you. I was wondering if you ran into anybody like that because he's on camera. You know what I'm saying?
That would have never happened. He was home. I was so sometimes thinking to when he walked in that Magnolia, when he did that little thing, that would have never happened when we was out there.
Why you say that?
That when we were beefing with their project, ain't nowhere in the world you better come back here walking with no camera, doing no documentary.
But he was with Soldier Slim.
Okay, who he with? You better nobody come back there. We beefing. Yeah, man, I was ticked off about that. I was like, man, no.
Yeah, so there you hear, guys, some choice comments. Obviously, let us know what you think down below. Hopefully, I've been able to frame that correctly in its right context. And encourage you guys once again to go over to A Humble Soul YouTube, check out the interview, the full interview, check out Terrance Gangsta Williams' channel, and the other stuff that these guys are releasing. So I'm going to share the audio now with Short Circuit, also known as Freedom Unique from Artists Anonymous Records. Obviously, he has experience of knowing and working with C Murder, so I'm going to get his thoughts on this.
He was already in the street, because where they're located, Third Ward, Calio, that's the streets, nigga. Like, that's hood shit. So to say he's not the street and he's going backwards, I don't know if that fits the caliber, because you're already in the shit. Like, C Murder was living in a household where there was more than 5 people in that shit. That's the struggle. That's where you gotta fight for that bathroom. You gotta fight for that last egg, that last sip of Kool-Aid. Like, that's real shit. That's struggle. So as soon as you go outside, you're already looking for a better way. So when you looking for a better way and you in the hood, you do what the hood do. So to say he wasn't a real street dude, I don't know what he means by that. I can't see that.
Yeah, I think that's a dope point that you made there when you say just, growing up in the street in that environment. I can't obviously speak for my man, but it seems like, not just from him, often you get a perception where I think people look at it like, if you wasn't out there, maybe, being involved in certain types of behaviors, more so from a criminal aspect, like, doing this or doing that, people might look at it and say, well, you're from the environment, but you're not street because you're not doing that. But like you said, just even his whole life, just being street, being born in a certain environment, even from a family household dynamic, is something that still should be taken into consideration. Do you think that there is that where people look at it and say, well, if you ain't out there busting your gun, or if you ain't out there, slanging or whatever, for instance, at a certain age, then they look at it like you're less street than somebody else who might be doing that from the same community?
Well, I do. Okay, like, when I'm in the streets, or when I was in the streets, it was guys that was doing the same things I was doing, but they wasn't doing the same things I was doing. So I didn't look at them as like real street niggas. They street niggas, but they wasn't what we call real street niggas. You ever heard the term where they say, yo, I'm a real street nigga, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That means you involved in the activities of the extremes. You involved in the extremes of street activity. You busting your gun, you selling drugs, you fucking, excuse my language. You're busting your gun, you're selling drugs, you're dealing with multiple women, you're in the clubs, you're in the cars, you're in the midst of the sucking stuff, you know what I'm saying? You're going through all that. That's a real street, you know what I mean? Then you got, like I said, man, I used to be my building, pumping and stuff like that, and then it'll be some other guys on the other side of the street, they pumping, but I'm robbing them dudes because they not real street dudes. You know what I mean? You rob a real street dude, then it's gonna be retaliation. You rob a street dude, they gonna make it back and, try to dodge you or pay you off every time they see you. That's the stuff I went through. So, as far as the activity with C, you gotta understand, his name this is something, he picked a name, they said C Murder. Like, he sees the murder. Not that he's doing it, but he sees it. And what else he gonna see in Third Ward Calio in the 80s? He's going to see what's out there. That's seeing murder. That's what it all boils down to. You see people get money. You see them dealing with shorties, messing with wild women and all that, going out, looking good. Then they get murdered. So C was basically saying, and I could be, you know, slightly off on this, but he was saying, like, I see the struggle. And the struggle is murder, because you got to live and die in them streets. You live in one day, dead the next. So he's saying he see the extreme poverty, the extreme mental illness that black people are going through in these so-called neighborhoods. You know, where we dying to act like our oppressor. That's what we doing. We dying to act like them. You got to think about it, man. Like, we so blind, deaf, and dumb. Like, look at sex, for instance, right? Black people ain't the type of people, we don't play, in New York City, someone to spit on you. But when they spit on you, that's saying, yo, I want all the smoke. All the smoke you got, I want it. It was spit on you. That happens in New York every single day, right? Now, in sex, with black people nowadays, they spitting in each other's mouths and doing all this type of stuff. We didn't. That wasn't our thing. We picking this up from somebody. What else are we picking up from that same somebody?
Well,
you understand what I'm saying? Like, we blind, deaf, and dumb and can't hear, speak, and see, man. But C said he see the struggle. And C was a good dude. Like, you know, C was a millionaire. But you know, he had a spot in the hood, kept it. He was good to people. He could go in the hood with all his jewelry on, Rolexes on, and all that stuff, and nobody touch him because he stayed grounded. You can't stay grounded like that, and you just no pushover, and you just no nerd. It's something that binds you to that struggle, and the people recognize you to be what they are, and you probably just made it out. But you know what I mean? C was a good dude, but he's street. He's a street dude. He's a hood dude. Yeah. Like, I lived around him, ate around him. You know, did bad stuff with him. He's a street dude. He never on time. He's a black dude from the hood. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that's real, and that, you know, you encapsulated that well too. I think definitely how a lot of people view C. One of the things we always hear about C is that he's got a big heart, and you know, he a good dude and stuff as well, which sometimes isn't necessarily reinforced by the media. I was gonna ask you, you know, another point that Terrance kind of made, and I guess other people do make this point in regards to a lot of rappers or entertainers within the industry, especially nowadays. And it's kind of purported that, you know, obviously with power and money comes influence and different things like that. Sometimes your surroundings or your company might change. From your time and experience of being with the Tank and being around C, did you think there was any kind of change of him? Like, the bigger he got as an artist, where Terrance is kind of saying, you know, probably the bigger he got as an artist, the more, I guess, in deep he got with the streets.
Well, I came around in '98 with No Limit. No Limit wasn't his richest. Everybody was rich, you know what I'm saying? Everybody had something. Master P was laying out the format for people he signed to his label. Of course, his brothers, you know, they had already dropped the album. It was good, you know what I'm saying? So I came around in a time where my first take on C Murder was, he was young, and, you know, wow. You know what I'm saying? This is 1998. I don't know how old Murder was at that time. But I saw him as, you know, a young dude, you know, wild and trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So it was some things I seen with my own eyes with C that you know, I wouldn't have done if I was him and at his stature. You know what I'm saying? C knew the fake stuff that goes on in the industry. Excuse me. He knew the fake things that was going on in the industry, and he wasn't trying to be a part of that. He wanted to be a part of the authenticity of it. You understand what I'm saying? So he's gonna be in the hood. He's gonna go see the homeless people. He's gonna go help people in his old neighborhood where it's torn down and bullet riddled and things like that. He's gonna do that because he know these so-called people from the hood that make it, they don't go back. He wasn't gonna let that happen with him. You know what I'm saying? Master P did the same thing, but he was just a little more cautious with that. See, murder was out there. He had the money, he had the time, and he had the people. You know, and of course, whatever he didn't have as a street dude, he was developing. So when Terrance says he's going backwards, I don't think it's so much as going backwards. I think it's just when you got that kind of prestige, you got that kind of money, you got that kind of power of influence, that you're more free. And see, money causes a financial freedom. Now, when you put financial freedom with a thug-minded individual, fireworks is coming. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta understand, like, Tupac was like, you know, a god to a lot of these gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? And so when if they get caught up in the term thug, and from Tupac's mentality, the thug is different. You know what I mean? The thug is the guy who learns about black history, who is stand up for his people and stuff like that. You know, and then when about time people get it, they think it's, oh, be wild and be stupid. And you gotta understand, when Tupac looked at the word nigga, he said, never ignorant getting goals accomplished. Other people look at the word nigga as just nigga. You know what I mean? So they get caught up in this Tupac thing, which is weird to me, yo. So weird, man, because I know a bunch of Tupacs. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know,
Well, I mean,
I'm not saying,
oh yeah, that's
I'm not saying that Tupac wasn't a great individual or nothing like that, but I'm saying for it to be, as for the things that, I don't know what they looking at to put him where he at. To me, that's my favorite artist. That's number one in my top 5. You understand? And it's not because he's some ignorant motherfucker. In fact, it's the opposite reason why he's number one in my book. But it's weird, man.
Yeah, I think, you know, that was dope, man. And you know, some of the stuff he said, it was, before you even mentioned Tupac, it was interesting because he was giving me shades of Pac when he was just talking about, you know, C's dedication to his people, the culture, and just his want to express that authenticity and being, you know, embraced by the people in the same kind of way. And, you know, it's very similar in a different aspect to obviously with Pac and that as well. And I know sometimes, you know, that authenticity, people can say, oh, you know, you did too much. It's just like with Pac, some say, oh, you know, he went backwards by involving himself with Death Row. Now, that's some people's perception. I'm not saying I particularly agree with that assertion either. So, you know, quite rightly, as you pointed out when Terrance said about going backwards, it, you know, it can't really be quantified in that kind of way, but you can kind of see where he coming from in a different regard, just in terms of his understanding. Yeah, so there we have it, guys. Definitely thanks to Short Circuit for joining us and tapping in on this one. Appreciate everybody's support. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments. Once again, we want to say free Corey Miller, aka C Murder. Peace out, and thanks everybody who watches to the end on these. Salute. One.
Cause we bout that, and we representing UK worldwide, got the trill stepping. Cause we bout that, and we representing UK worldwide, got the trill stepping. We be representing bout that online. That's the hottest spot, the real ones.